Hello, and welcome to a brief technology demonstration of RetinaCS, an enterprise vulnerability scanning overview, presented by Beyond Trust.
In this video, we're going to discuss enterprise vulnerability scanning leveraging RetinaCS. When first logging into RetinaCS, the dashboard view shows things such as the overall threat level, anomalies within the environment, including things like high-risk asset and high-frequency vulnerabilities, an overall view of asset risk within the environment, information regarding the status of the RetinaCS application, and other items such as completed reports. Initiating scans from within RetinaCS can be as easy as clicking on the Assess button at the top of the application, or by viewing the Assets pane, and then when viewing the Assets pane, looking at the different smart groups that have been created within the application to organize the assets. In this example, I'm going to sort by asset risk. I'm going to select one of my assets within my organization to scan. Once I do that, I'll have the Scan button located up on the right-hand side. This takes us into our Report Templates section. These report templates are pre-configured with best practices for vulnerability scanning and other types of scans. Things included within the report templates are your vulnerabilities report, PCI reports. Other items within the report templates pane include items focused on the assets. So if I wanted to run a discovery scan, I could do that quickly from here. If I wanted to run a report based upon operating system, or if I wanted to run a report to find the ports that have been discovered on the assets, I could run that report from here as well. In addition to that, there are reports that focus on things like regulatory compliance, everything from COBIT to HIPAA to SOX to MAS 201, and numerous others are included within the application. Other items included within the report template section are benchmark compliance reports. This focuses on running a configuration check of the targets in question instead of looking at a vulnerability scan. For this example, we're going to select our vulnerability report, and I have two options located down here on the right-hand side. I can report, which would actually execute this report against the existing data within the SQL database, pull back that information, and generate the report based upon previously found information. Or I can click on Scan to actually go out and touch the targets that are been selected for this scan. You'll notice my selected asset is included here. I could modify the selection by entering the IP address, the IP range, CIDR notation, or named host, or I can completely select my smart group that I've created. Here I'm just going to select the individual asset that I chose earlier. I can provide additional credentials within the tool to go ahead and scan, or I can store those credentials within our credentials management option. When storing credentials within the application, if I wanted to store credentials, I could click on Add. I would define what type of credential that would be. So for example, if I wanted to select SSH credentials, I could enter the username, decide whether it's password or public key, enter the password information, provide a description of the credentials, and then an additional key value or PIN value so that if I provided these credentials for other users to leverage, they would not need to know what the actual username or password is. They would simply need to know what the description is and what this key value is that I entered. So a user wanted to leverage these credentials, they could check the box and then enter the confirmation key here. Once entered, the application recognizes that those credentials have been selected. I can then determine from a report delivery perspective whether or not I wanted to actually have a report created. I could select what type of report I want created, and then I would select my scanner to actually go out and perform the scan. Also leveraging RetinaCS, instead of just leveraging one scanner, I can leverage multiple scanners at once to perform the scan. So if I do have more than one asset selected, let's say I'm scanning a particular range of IPs and I needed that particular job to finish relatively fast, I could load balance that across multiple scanners as long as I had them configured to communicate back to my RetinaCS application. I can also select from a scheduling perspective, what type of schedule, whether this is immediate, one-time, or recurring job, and then define the frequency of that job. Here we're going to click on immediate, and we'll start the scan. Once the scan has been initiated, we'll recognize that the request has been issued. I'm going to go over to the jobs pane and actually show that the scan is actually being loaded up on the scanner to run. I can look at the details of that, recognize that I've selected my credentials, the targets in question, and then as the assets are being targeted from the scan, they'll report back here, and also we'll track the event details as a part of the scan as well. In the interest of time, I'm going to show from a completed perspective what that would look like. So I'll highlight the job that I just ran a little while ago. Click on some of the information for that scan. Again, showing the credentials, the targets in question, the assets being returned from the scan, recognizing the scanner was able to go out and see that asset, and then also the event details as they're being funneled back from the scanner. Once that's complete, we will generate the report that we wanted, which was the vulnerability report. I can click here to open the report. And then as the report loads, you'll notice we include a nice document map to be able to quickly move around the report to get to where you're looking for. I can look at the summary of the vulnerabilities, breaking everything down from your informational, low, medium, and high vulnerability perspective. Also, the vulnerabilities are hyperlinked, so if I wanted to hop into a direct vulnerability, I could do that directly from here. And we also expose the vulnerabilities listed out on the left-hand side. I can drill into that vulnerability to look at the details. So what we're looking at is an Adobe Flash Player vulnerability. I'll show you a nice description of what that vulnerability actually is, how to actually fix that, any associated references with regards to that vulnerability. We're also providing information with regards to the exploits for that vulnerability. So if there are exploits that are located within the exploit DB, core impact, or Metasploit applications, we're going to inform our users with regards to whether or not those exploits exist. And then I can also click here to see the results of the scan from a details perspective. So to actually look at what we actually checked to determine this vulnerability. So with regards to this particular vulnerability, we're again showing you the audit name that we actually ran the check for, information, where did we actually check, so the Adobe error.dll, the regular expression that we used to actually determine what version was found, and we're showing the version found here, indicating that that vulnerability exists. And that's all we have covered today for the Enterprise Vulnerability Scanning Overview.
Thank you for your time. For more information, please email us at sales@beyondtrust.com or call us at 1-800-234-9072.